Hi, it's Ronnie here. Just want to know, how are you coping with the winter? If you're doing a raw food diet, how are you doing? How's it going? Some of you are probably not doing a fully raw diet, so it's maybe not as much of an issue for you, but how do you, what's your own strategy or thoughts on staying raw in cold weather or in the winter? For me personally, I don't find cold weather makes me really want to eat hot food. I always ate ice cream in the winter. I always ate cold drinks and stuff in the winter. Always enjoyed that. And when I was going raw, the temperature of food was just not really an issue to me, because I was still eating cooked food that was cold. Does that make sense? What am I trying to say? I guess what I'm saying is, if I was still eating cooked food, when I was at the point that I was still eating cooked food, I could go a day where I didn't eat hot food, but I would still eat maybe leftover cooked food, and that would satisfy whatever craving that was for the cooked food. And it was cold, cold rice or whatever from the day before, cold pasta, whatever it was. Cold potatoes is like terrible. I don't know if cold potatoes is the worst thing. Some people can eat cold potatoes, but no, the heat of food never bothered me. Having hot food, it's quite nice. But the other thing is, if you're doing raw foods, you can warm it up if you like. It's not an anti-warm food diet. It's not, especially if you consider the fact that a lot of the food that you're going to be eating anyway will have been cooled down, and you might have stored it in a fridge or a freezer, and definitely at the shops it's probably kept cool, so it's been cooled down. So bringing the temperature up by putting it in hot water or something, or maybe not putting it in hot water, putting it in a bowl of warm water or something like that, or just leaving it out. And obviously one of the big things, one of the big tricks for if you want warm soup or something, is to just put it in the Vitamix longer, put it in the blender for a couple of minutes, and it gets warmer. And it gets warm. It's not a big deal, and it's very simple. Still, I don't really enjoy I don't really like warm soup that much. I think it's okay. Warm sauces, I'm not a huge fan of that, but I do quite like the warm sweet meals. So for example, I was with a friend recently and they made a raw hot fudge sundae. So it was like banana ice cream with this hot fudge sauce. So they obviously put some kind of hot fudge sauce, raw recipe, in the blender and then poured it over the ice cream, and it was amazing. So I mean, it's nice, but still the temperature is not a big deal to me. So what's your thoughts on that? Do you find that the temperature is an issue? Because some people can't even imagine going through the winter without eating hot food. The other thing to bring up, of course, is that if you really, really undereat for a prolonged period of time, you will start to feel cold. 3 or 4 days not eating enough, or if you go into a fasting state, if you're fasting, you'll start to feel cold. I don't know if that keeps going or is it just a temporary thing, but you might consider trying to eat more food if you're feeling cold all the time. So yeah, that's just what I want to speak about. Warm the food up in the blender if you want, or it's not a big deal. Because and even drying food and dehydrated, drying food is part of our natural environment, I guess. Food that is dried in the sun all the time. And all animals are eating food that's dried or dried out in the sun. You know, it's just part of the world. So, and it's a great way of storing food, of course. So that's my little rant on that. Just let me know down below, how do you deal with a colder climate, eating raw food? Do you go towards cooked food? Is that what you have to do? Do you warm up your raw food dishes a little? Let me know, and thanks for listening, and enjoy your life. You know, that's all I've got to say. Thanks.